Before the whistle blows and before the crowd cheers, there's something every athlete deserves, and that is safety. Welcome to Safe Sports Media, voice for safe and inclusive sports. Every time a player steps on the pitch, there's always a dream. There's a goal they want to achieve. But with that dream, there are risks involved. Some are very visible, and this could be things like injuries, but some are not visible and they're not as obvious. One of them is bullying. Now, but generally, is that the only risk that is available, or is that the only risk that is actually in sports? The answer is no. We have many risks involved in sports, and they can affect anybody. It can be the player, it could be the coach, it could be a referee. This includes financial risks, emotional risks, psychological risks, and even sexual abuse. Anything could happen. But there's a good thing that can be done to ensure that no harm comes to anyone who's involved in sports, and that is safeguarding. How do we safeguard against the different kinds of risks? So we're going to start with how to safeguard against. We're going to do physical, we're going to do emotional, and we'll also touch a little bit on environmental and the digital risks that are involved. When you talk about physical, this one is actually the most common. Number one is injuries. And injuries can happen when there's fatigue or when there's wrong technique used in a particular game, or if there's overtraining. Or another one is when there's medically, you've assessed, you don't have the right people to check that when this is done the wrong way, something bad could happen. But this can be managed. So things like overtraining, you really should not do it. If in a week you cannot be training Monday to Monday, it is not good for your body, it is not good for your mind, it is not good for your soul. You may want to achieve certain things, but remember, rest is also part of training. And if you're not giving your body time to rest and to regenerate, you are not protecting yourself, and that is one of the physical harms that could happen to you. In terms of sexual and gender abuse, there's aspects where we do not tolerate any sort of harm. If somebody does not give consent to any advances, that is, if they're of an age to consent, then anything that is done beyond that is exploitation and is abuse. And it is zero tolerance. Anything should have zero tolerance and should be protecting children against abuse and exploitation. A good thing that works is ensuring that during the recruitment process, you know who you're employing on your team. In your country, are there sexual offenders lists that you could check? Are you using a police background check? Are you also being open about people who've caused harm in your team before and making it public knowledge such that they cannot go and cause harm elsewhere? It is important that we have a common register that can be used by everyone involved, such that teams that are far apart are not being affected by the same group of people. Things such as financial abuse and financial risks also exist. This is where many people coming into the sport are really vulnerable because they come from backgrounds that cannot support them. So when they heavily depend on the sport to earn their money, and somebody in power is able to determine whether they get selected or not, it is a potential risk. So training should be given to the player to understand their rights. If they have contracts, they should understand what's on their contract and what amounts to abuse and what amounts to exploitation. If illegally somebody is claiming part of your money so that you can be on the team, that is wrong. Within the system, can they report? Do they know who to talk to in case they're facing such issues? These are all things that need to be addressed. And understand that it's not just players who can be exploited. Even coaches can be exploited by admins. Somebody has been employed to be a coach. They are supposed to be paid an X amount, but the admin who's in charge of paying this person has to take his own cut illegally. That is also wrong. Referees need to be paid. If they're coming to the match and they're not getting their remuneration, that is also not right. So if they're a volunteer, also have policies in place to protect the volunteers who are there. We are talking about also bullying things such as you need to toughen up, or hazing. This is where players are made to do certain things that they may not be comfortable with, or that may bring harm to them either physically or emotionally. This should not be encouraged. Talk to teams and help them understand what is a welcoming ritual to the team, which should not cause harm, and what is hazing. They should also be allowed to say if they're not comfortable with doing certain things. They should not face they should not face things such as being set aside because they did not want to take part in it. It may be going against their cultural preferences or their religious preferences. Doesn't mean that they should now be told you're no longer part of the team. Work to understand the context they're in, where they're coming from, and help them integrate into the team without causing them any harm. Remember, everybody can be affected in visible ways or in invisible ways. We just need to be on the lookout for what these are, and also have reporting measures in place to help them navigate this process without feeling as though retaliation will come to them. It is not easy to protect, but it is possible to go through it as long as everybody involved is on board.